Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I hope you all are fine and doing well. Today I'll tell you about authoritarian educational administration. This is a topic which people usually study under B.Ed. Okay, so let's have a look at this topic. Also, I wish to tell you here that I can use the word autocratic and authoritarian interchangeably. Both mean the same. Okay, so before proceeding further, let me tell you the meaning of the word autocratic or authoritarian. See, autocratic educational administration is a form of management style whereby one leader or member of the organization takes decisions on behalf of the entire organization. Okay, now in the first picture, you can see a tall man, a huge man standing in the middle, and there are few tiny people standing beside him. They are basically the subordinates, and the boss, the leader, is standing in the middle. Okay, so in authoritarian educational administration, there is one leader, and under the leader, there work many people. Okay, many people work under him. Okay, so this is the basic framework of authoritarian educational administration. Or I can say that when centralization of power takes place and responsibility of educational management is centered in and exercised by a central power or organization or agency. This framework is called authoritarian educational administration. Okay, now let's have a look at the second slide. In the second slide, I have shown you that there's a boss. Okay, there's a boss at the top, and under him there serve many people, and they all are very sad. Why they are very sad? Tears, you can see tears coming down from their eyes. Why they are very sad? They are very sad because they have to follow all the norms, all the rules, regulations which have been framed by the boss or by the leader. Because if they don't follow the norms, they will be thrown out of the company or the educational institute. So they are bound to follow the norms. So you can see that the boss is at the top and the subordinates are working just below him. This is the basic framework of an authoritarian or autocratic educational administration. So from this picture, from the picture of the second slide, what can I conclude? I can conclude few things. The first one here is the manager holds power and the ultimate decision making authority. Okay? The manager is the supreme decision making authority. Okay? He is the supreme power and his rights are absolute in nature. Okay? The second important thing which is apparent from this picture is that there is a clear-cut division between the leader and the subordinates. Yes, as you all can see, there is a clear-cut hierarchy between the leader and the subordinates. By hierarchy, I mean that the boss is at the top and below him there are several people working. Okay, so there is a kind of hierarchy which is established over here. Now, the next important thing which you need to keep in mind is that the leader has an absolute grip on his subordinates. Yes, definitely the leader or the boss makes a whole lot of rules, regulations and norms. Okay, and these rules and regulations are mandatory for the people working under him to follow. If the subordinates don't follow the norms, then they will be fired out. Okay, so in this way the leader has an absolute grip on his subordinates. The fourth important thing which I can conclude from this picture is that the leader takes the decisions on behalf of the entire group. Okay, so this is one of the major points under authoritarian educational administration. Here the leader or the boss takes the decision on behalf of the entire group, and his decisions are supreme, his decisions are final, also his decisions are independent. All the decisions taken by him are of an independent nature. Okay, he doesn't take the help of the subordinates while framing any kind of decision. Okay, so his decision is independent. Also, the another important point which needs to be mentioned here is that the workers or the subordinates are generally obedient people and they follow the directions as given by the leader. Okay, so the subordinates are usually obedient people and they follow all the directions as given by their leader because they have to serve under the company. Okay, they have to work to earn a living, so they will follow all the directions as given by the leader. Okay, now let's have a look at what is autocratic educational administration. What is basically the concept? Autocratic educational administration is a management style wherein one person controls all the decisions and takes very little inputs from other group members. As I told you earlier, that under autocratic educational administration there will be one person who is called the leader. He is the supreme person. Okay, and he will take the decisions. He will take the ultimate decisions of the organization. Okay, and all his decisions are of an independent nature, means that he will not take the help of his subordinates while framing any policy or any norm. Okay, he will not take their help. He will just work in an independent way. Okay, now let's see the second point. Autocratic leaders make choices or decisions based on their own beliefs and do not involve others for suggestion or advice. This I already told you earlier, that the leaders the boss or the leader's decisions are final and they do not take any advice from the subordinates. Okay, they work in an independent way. Now let's have a look at the third point. All the policies and programs are planned, directed by one central agency. One central agency means the leader or the boss. He will make the plans, he will execute them, direct them, and all the thing will be done by him only. Okay, he will not take the help of his subordinates. Here, the one central agency may be a person or a group of person as core group. Okay, so the leader can be one person. If there is only one person, then that person will be called a leader. But sometimes there may be a group of people. If there is a group of people, then that group will be called the core group. Okay, so when the powers and responsibilities center around a particular person or group, then the term authoritarian or autocracy comes into limelight. Okay, now I think the concept is clear to you all. See here in this picture, there is a small picture. In this picture you will see the boss is scolding his subordinate. Why? Because he might not have followed some of the norms, any norm or regulation. That's why he is getting a good scolding. Okay, now let's have a look at the characteristics of autocratic educational organization. See, the first and the most important characteristic here is that the rights of the subordinates are not absolute or supreme. It means that the rights of the subordinates are not taken into consideration at all. So, whose right is supreme? Only the right of the leader, of the boss, is supreme. Okay? Only his right is supreme and no one else's right. Okay? Second, educational management is in a state of monopoly. Third, every aspect of education is controlled by one supreme power. I already mentioned these points earlier also. Okay, and one supreme power means the leader. The leader will decide everything. Every aspect of education will be controlled, will be decided by one person who is called the leader. Educational administration becomes centralized and being dominated by bureaucracy, which controls through strict administration of laws, rules and regulations. This also I told you earlier, that the entire organization works on the framework of some strict laws, rules and regulations which has to be followed by the subordinates, and if they don't follow, then they will be fired out of that organization. Also, an environment of mutual distrust exists. Okay, this must be clear to you all. Planning is done by the managers or leader. Okay, so the entire planning is done by one supreme power who is called the manager or the leader. Okay, managers tell the teachers as what to do. Managers will decide the curriculum of the teachers, what teachers will teach in the class. Okay, the entire activity of the teachers will be controlled by the manager or the boss or the leader. Okay, decisions are made independently by the leader without any input or without any kind of help from the followers. Okay, so as I told you earlier, that all the decisions which will be made by the leader or by the boss will be in an independent manner. Okay, he will not take the help of his subordinates while framing any kind of rule, policy, etc, etc. Okay, so his decisions are final and independent. Okay, also there is a clear cut division between the leader and the subordinates. As I told you earlier in this slide, see, you can see a clear cut division, a clear cut hierarchy. A hierarchy means the boss is at the top and below him there serve many people. Okay, so this is a kind of hierarchy established. Also, the faculty meetings are planned only by the head. So all the faculty meetings will be planned by the leader. Now, this system has got a lot of disadvantages, a lot of demerits. Okay, this system is not good basically, and so it has got a lot of demerits. Let's have a look at the demerits. Okay, so the first demerit is that the leader can be partial and biased. Obviously, if all the decision making authority is in the hand of one single person, then he is bound to be partial or biased. Okay, he can become partial and biased because the entire decision making authority is in his own hands, na? So he is bound to be partial and biased. Also, sometimes the leader's personal ambitions can come above group welfare. Sometimes the absence or fall of leaders can result in chaos. This point is will be very much clear to you all, because see, in the absence of teacher, there is chaos in the class. The teacher guides the entire class, and in the absence of teacher, there will be chaos. Okay, the subordinates are generally tuned to work under the administration or under the norms, directions given by the leader. And in the absence of leader, if there is no leader, then there is bound to be chaos in the system, isn't it? Also, next point is that the feelings of subordinates are not considered at all. The feelings of the subordinates are not considered at all. Their feelings are totally ignored. Okay, whatever the boss wants, that will happen. Okay, and the last point is that can create hostile environment. This system can create hostile environment. Sometimes the subordinates can turn against the leader. Okay, see, if people's patience are just brimmed above a certain level, then they can turn against the leader, isn't it? Don't you think so? There is a limit to bear something, and a certain day comes when that limit breaks, and on that day the subordinates will turn against the leader. That day will be called the doom day of the leader, isn't it so? Yes. Now let's have a look at the merits. Okay, there is only one merit here which needs to be mentioned, and this point is this approach is best suited in situations where there is little time for group decision making, or when the leader is the most knowledgeable member of the group. Okay, so this type of system is of a very advantageous nature only when the leader is the most knowledgeable member of the group. Okay, when the leader has got a lot of knowledge, okay, then he will be successful in taking good decisions. Okay, and that's the only merit of this system. With this, I conclude my topic. Thank you for watching. I hope you all liked it. If there is any kind of question going on in your mind, you can surely ask me in the comment section. Okay? Thank you for watching.